Welcome back to the Pursuit of Property podcast. Today we have episode 1 of season 3. Today we're joined by 2 investors and agents with Real Broker, Vanessa Reyes, JT Contrestano.
Hey guys.
Today we're going to be talking a little bit about your guys' investment in Ohio. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us on.
Absolutely.
It's nice to be here.
Yeah. So you guys have been realtors for a while, yeah? Can you give a little background about your experience in real estate?
Yeah, so we got licensed together 9 years ago.
Our license numbers are one number apart.
Wow.
No way.
They are.
That's pretty impressive.
Took the test right together, and I think I finished just slightly before.
Like
she was actually
2 minutes before, but
But
I
who
was
was counting?
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
she was probably done ahead and like, I don't want to leave this guy behind. And I finished. I was like, I'm out of here. You know.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So 9 years ago, and you guys have been working as agents since, or what's that look like for you?
Yeah, so we got licensed 9 years ago. We both had did it part-time, like most realtors kind of stumble into the career. I was a full-time mixed martial artist at the time, and was doing it just to get a paycheck in between fights. So
Really?
yeah, I would train full-time, fight every 3 to 6 months was the goal, and then if I could sell a house every 3 to 6 months, life was great.
Really?
Sweet.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And then Vanessa, you were doing fighting as well, or?
I wish. I'm a lover, not a fighter. So I was actually assistant managing a C's candy store.
No
Which-
way.
Yes, I rocked the little white outfit. They pay really good, so
Okay.
I was kind of the breadwinner for us and paid the bills while trying
Yeah.
to get a real estate deal every here and there. And then finally we jumped full speed in.
When was that?
About 4 years ago, 4.5 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, started doing it full time. I got my broker's license 2 years ago, and now this is all I do. It's instead of fighting and training 7 days a week, we just do real estate
Yeah.
day and night.
Yeah, it seems like you guys have always been pretty busy since I've known you. I've only known you guys for a couple years. Did you guys right off the bat, were you investing using that money, or what were you guys doing before you guys started buying out of state?
Yeah, so we went kind of backwards. We had full intention to invest. We actually had a couple started selling multifamily units about 4 years ago, and had 3 of them through a client that were perfect units all lined up. The same time we were looking to expand where we were living and upgrade our primary. So we put an offer on a house instead of going after the multifamily. Market was still busy and crazy at the time. It was a perfect location. We ended up getting beat out. So then we dove full into those 3 multifamilies, locked up 2 of them, and we get a call from that primary saying, hey, our first offer fell apart. We had another backup ahead of you. That fell apart. You have full chance at this if you want it. So we decided we pulled out of our investments, and we actually pursued the primary residence. And then for the last 2 years, we just literally dumped all our money into it. So we put, it was a complete gut. So we redid floors, fixtures, cabinets, countertops, knocked down walls, added onto the house, bathrooms. So, I mean, you guys have flip property, it was a head to toe, just fun remodel.
Okay. So you actually had gotten into escrow for the multi-units?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
and then you guys chose to go with the personal residence.
Right.
Yes, it was more my choice.
Hey, you both got to be happy with it. Have you been happy with that property? It seems like now it's probably really, really nice and all yours.
Yeah, we're fortunate with all the work we put in, and then obviously the increasing market, like it's doubled in price. So that's been nice because the multifamilies have also really increased in price, and it's like that could have been the better way to go with steady cash flow and nice California appreciation before the rising market. But
yeah. And so it was something where you wanted the comfort of having your own home, or if you don't mind me asking, obviously.
Yeah, so we were living in the first house that he actually bought in 2008 by Fresno State, and we had roommates and were ready to kind of grow up and get our own place. And the call that the escrow had fallen out came on my birthday, actually. And so I was like, we got to do it.
It's a birthday present.
Birthday present.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But we love it. It's in Northwest Fresno. Our friends live in the neighborhood. We golf cart around everywhere.
Oh, that's
Perfect
perfect.
house.
Yeah.
So obviously we wanted to bring you guys in. Our season 3 is focused on out-of-state investing, And I know you guys just picked something up out in Ohio. So why don't you guys tell us a little bit about kind of the ramp up and the background on why Ohio, how it kind of all, kind of fell into the right place in order to move forward with that.
Yeah. So we had started looking back. Once we finished the remodel, we had started looking again in Fresno because it's like we know Fresno. We live here. We love it. And the market was just completely different from when we were selling multifamilies to now when we can afford to purchase again.
Right.
And so for us, like once you have your primary taken care of, investments is all like monopoly. It doesn't matter where it's at. It's meant to cash flow. It's meant to be an asset. So when we realized Fresno was no longer feasible, it's like, what is? So started doing our research just like you guys did. Love all the red states because they're landlord friendly. Red and purple is what our first decision was. That's where we want to be. But places like Texas, Arizona, Utah, those were all too filled with Californians already. They'd driven up prices.
Yeah.
So we kind of narrowed it down. We liked the East Coast. We liked the Carolinas. We had started looking there. Really liked Ohio, started looking at Indiana because we knew you guys were kind of looking over there. But Ohio, we ended up settling on, after studying the market, it was very similar to Fresno, Cleveland specifically. Like the city was just laid out pretty similar. It made sense.
The
Really?
demographics of it all, like you go from $1 million homes to like slums in like a 3-mile radius, kind of just like how Fresno's laid out. So
Yeah.
I felt kind of comfortable with that.
And so when you said that you guys were looking at all those different states, I mean, were you going and like looking at specific metrics, or were you guys traveling there? What were you doing when you were looking at different markets?
We almost bought plane tickets to North Carolina.
We had an 8-unit on a golf course in North Carolina that was beautiful, that we had worked out a deal, and then the Ohio properties kind of came full circle, and so we ended up abandoning the North Carolina.
The
Wow.
return was just
Twice as good.
Oh,
yeah.
Really?
Yeah, so I mean,
Wow.
it was nice. We liked the idea of North Carolina because you get a great return still, beautiful state, and it's like,
Right.
oh, we can go visit. Like that's a cool,
It's a good place.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
a cool place to go check out. But she would literally, we'd look on the computer. We'd be on, Zillow, LoopNet, Crexy, just checking what's out there, and then, she would find or identify properties, and I would hit the phones calling realtors, like, hey, explain to me your market. Tell me about, and anybody that would let me bend their ear, I would talk to you.
Right.
So yeah, I got a feel for kind of each avenue, each place, and then just lucked out on Ohio because we had identified 3 properties that we were seriously considering, and nobody would call us back. It's like, what is going on with these realtors?
It sounds identical to what happened to us.
Exactly what
Crazy.
happened.
I don't know if it was the 559 area code or what, but I would leave voicemails like, hey, I've got money. I'm ready to buy. This is what I want to buy. If you call me back, I'll do it through you. If I get that call, I'm leaving the podcast to go do that.
That's exactly right. No, we're the same way.
Yep.
Yeah.
We had a hard time as well. We called around a whole bunch of brokers, and I mean, we had brokers completely ghost us. We had a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
And the broker we work with now was a referral.
Oh, wow.
So who knows what would have happened if we didn't have that referral?
Right.
I wonder why that is.
I don't know. Commercial may be a little different. Those guys are more 9 to 5, don't work weekends,
Yeah.
nights, and I have no idea. But yeah, we the property we wanted most was represented by a brokerage that the guys on the actual listing wouldn't call us back. So I went through the company's Rolodex, and I just started calling. By the 6th call, I finally get somebody to pick up. And literally my first words out of my mouth were, I don't care if you're good or bad at your job. As long as you answer when I call, you'll be my realtor for life there. Like, I will always call you. And so we've been great ever since. Fortunately, the property she showed us, didn't work out. And she's like, well, would you be interested in this other one that's off market? Yes.
Yeah.
I'll consider
Absolutely.
it. Like, yeah. Yeah. So she took us to the property. Like, we did everything through FaceTime. She was great. She'd FaceTime us through the property, got us all the numbers. The seller had been managing it all himself and had filled it with his friends and colleagues over a 20-year period. And so super under rented, great tenants. So then we made the mistake of, once we had locked it up, we flew out and we actually met some of the tenants. So
Did you give them their phone number?
My heart was breaking for these people.
She just gets attached.
I just love them. Like, oh my God, we're raising rent on you. So sorry. Sorry.
Well, you were doing all the research, or not the research necessarily, but you were finding the deals initially. Like, so you were doing all the digging to try to find something.
Both
Is that
of
what I
us.
heard?
Yeah, both of us. So I had to have a complete mind state. I can't talk. What am I trying to say? Mindset switch. Yes, mindset switch, because I'm thinking investment, but my mind also is going to like, oh, we can go vacation here, and like, he's like, no, like, these are going to be rented. Like, we have to get the income from them. So
some of these properties we were looking at, I mean, you guys know, you get some in pretty rough shape. And she's like, who would ever live there? I was like, it doesn't matter if you can't picture living there. Somebody will. Like, we'll clean it up. We'll make it presentable and nice, but 1 bedroom, 1 bath is perfect for someone. Doesn't fit your needs, but we'll find that person out there.
And that's kind of the same mindset. That reminds me of like when you're flipping a property. I mean, you don't got to put all the bells and whistles in there that would make you want to live there and spend more money and decrease your profit margin. If you make it nice and just put in all the basic stuff, someone's going to fall in love with it regardless, even if it's not you.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
So you guys were you only looking at commercial? Were you looking at any single family homes or 1 through 4 or anything like that?
No. So I have a couple different clients that do like a couple different schools of thought. One of them loves just single family homes, but he specifically wants it in gated communities. He loves HOAs, even though there's that extra payment, because he's like, my property's always going to stay up in value. You're going to have some Karen on the HOA board that's going to be upset if he's got too many cars in front of the house, if the weeds get big, So he loves that model of single family. And in California, you see those massive appreciation swings. Out of state like Ohio, you get some appreciation over the years, but that's not what you're banking on.
Gotcha.
It's the return on cash flow. So for us over there, it's like I wanted it all at one location. I want it under one roof, so it's easy to manage, easy to watch. It's like I have one roof to check on. I have one property manager to deal with on, it's number 11 that's a problem. It's not multiple addresses that I have to focus on or anything like that.
Okay.
So how many units is that property? Or how many units are you guys up to out there? How many total doors do you have?
So, we have 11 units in Ohio. We have our primary here, and then the single family here in Fresno as well as a rental. And then we have a 14 unit out there again that we're in escrow with right now.
Nice.
Trying to figure out. Yeah.
Gotcha. You had mentioned earlier that you guys like the red states. I think that's a pretty common thing because with especially like a year like 2020 with like the eviction issues and all that, it's helpful. What other metrics were you guys looking at? Are you more cash flow based, it sounds like, versus maybe some investors whose strategy is appreciation? Yeah,
absolutely. So cash flow is exactly what we're looking for. That was appreciation. It's like, great. If it does something, perfect. It's cherry on top. But we just want to see that monthly return. And then obviously just trying to make it as acceptable and high as possible. Fortunately, the units we got, 1 bedroom, 1 bath, our lowest paying tenant was $325. 1 bedroom, 1 bath, clean. Like it was not a demolished. It was a clean, nice, cute unit.
I'm moving to Cleveland.
Like, that's why I walked in and I was like, I actually wouldn't mind living here.
Just blew my mind. I was like, that's amazing.
So what would be the market rent for that?
So we're doing it in phases. We have 11 units, as we said. We're going to go through and just strategically raise rents. Didn't want to be those complete slumlords and
just coming in double or whatever it is off the bat.
Off the
That's what they're worried about. They're like,
and drive out
they're
good
coming
tenants.
from Hollywood and they're raising rents. Like
goddamn California.
That's not what's happening.
Yeah. So we took our 3 most troublesome tenants. Really, there was one guy that I had a problem with. He would smoke indoors after being told repeatedly not to. So she asked, I'm talking to the property manager, how much would you like to raise rent? I was like, tell him $2,000. Like, there's no cap, like whatever he's willing to pay, as high as you can get it. I would prefer if he moved out. Yeah. Like it's no love lost for me if he's gone and that thing sits vacant. So we doubled his rent and then 2 other guys. We have another guy who's a pretty bad hoarder and his was pretty rough. We just wanted to get in there and clean it up.
Right. Right.
So we ended up doubling 3 of those 2, and then another tenant was scheduled to move out. So his unit has already gone up for $700 and been filled.
Good.
Yeah.
Nice.
So we got that right away. The other 2, we're waiting on them to actually leave. This is the month where we're sorting it all out.
Yeah.
But gave them the notice, and now next week we should be able to kind of start working on it.
Yeah. We got kind of lucky in South Bend. I don't know if it's the same in Cleveland. It's pretty close. In South Bend, if your tenant doesn't like you, they leave instead of trying to.
Oh, nice.
That's our experience, is that they leave. So we've already turned 3 units we had 9, we sold 1. We turned 3 units. We have another that just became vacant from an eviction that we did. and we have one other unit we'll need to turn. But
Nice.
are you planning on turning like all of your units eventually, or are you hoping to keep them in there for 20 more years?
No, so ideally we'd like to in a year's time, like a year or less is kind of the goal that I have.
Mm-hmm.
I would obviously love to see the immediate 700 in all 11 units, but at the same time, I didn't want a rebellion to join forces against me and nobody move out and nobody pay.
Right.
So strategically, it's like we got the first 3 happening, then we'll move on to 3 more, and we'll just keep doing it in phases. That way, if we do run into problems, it's only a quarter of the building.
Yeah, that's one thing that I think is really beneficial of the multifamily is that you guys have, such a balance. Like it's diversified where like if we evict a tenant, like that house is losing us a lot of money.
Right.
Versus
Right.
you guys maybe are able to hedge your bets like what you're talking about.
Right. Well, and you guys found them for great prices too. So I mean, you can float that and make it buy. But that's kind of where my head's always been. I love like triplexes and up, because if you have a single family and like you said, somebody's not willing to pay or sitting tight, not moving out, it's like you're making that stroke. And then duplex, same thing. It's like you're still struggling. Triplex generally is, you get one guy not paying. It's like it's covered. It's okay. I'm just not making profit.
Yeah.
Right.
Fourplex and up, it's like you're still making a profit for your headaches.
Yeah.
So what's your guys' financing strategy for, what was it for those 11 and then what is it for your 14? Are you guys looking to BRRRR? Are you guys doing private money? Are you guys doing the down payment thing? What's kind of your guys' strategy out there with those units?
Yeah, so each one's kind of been different. The first one, we just struggled to find somebody to broker it out. We did the full down payment, but it was really hard to find somebody who was willing to lend on it.
Really?
Yeah,
11
because
unit?
the 11 unit, yeah. It wasn't considered big enough for some commercial guys. Like a lot of people didn't want to waste their time with it.
If you don't mind asking, what purchase price was it?
Yeah, so we got it at a great deal, $400,000.
Wow.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 400,000 to give you like the quick rundown. 400,000 making 52,000 a year right now. Projected by the end of the year will be at 84,000 overall gross.
So what's your cap on that?
I'd have to run the
top of your
not off
head?
the top of my head. I haven't ran the
That's
numbers
insane.
again.
Holy crap.
So yeah, we just kind of settled everything up with the property manager. She was giving me ideas of what we thought we could be able to rent it for and like our new numbers. So we're projecting we have 5 just studios. Those should be going for 650 to 700 depending on the condition we get them in, and then the 1 bedrooms 1 bath 700 to 750.
Good for you. And so you couldn't find a commercial broker with those kinds of numbers?
I was amazed. I was like, I would
Wow.
loan me money, but I don't know. Maybe I'm biased. I don't know.
Where were you looking?
So all around Cleveland, we called local banks trying to see if we could deal with
Credit
anybody out
union.
there, credit unions, reached out to every contact I have in Fresno, and everybody's, it's out of state, man. Like, all the 50 states, lenders have license in California because California and New York have obviously the greatest property or price, and they have a high turnover. All the other states, it's like, no, I'm not getting licensed there. I'm gonna do a deal for 150,000.
Right.
Why would I?
$2,000.
Yeah, why would I waste my time? So it was really hard to find somebody out there. Through one of my contacts here, we found a mortgage broker who set us all up, got us taken care of. We went in 35% down.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so got the property all locked up. And now for the 14 unit, we've kind of dumb luck again, all through this agent, by the way, who was the greatest find.
The
That's-
one that
that's
answered her
The
phone.
one that answered her phone, it's another off-market deal, and the seller wants seller financing. So
That's clutch.
perfect, nice and easy. And this guy actually owns, I'm told, we've seen 4 others, but 100 units that he wants to he's coming to the end of his years of renting and managing. He wants to slowly dump off over the next few years. So I said, I'll buy everything.
That's really, and he wants to do seller financing just to keep that income and not
Yep.
not pay tax on it.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, absolutely.
That's crazy. That's awesome.
What's your guys' relationship with your realtor like? I know you said you guys were FaceTiming and stuff, all your properties. Do you guys talk to her a lot still, or how does that work?
We
Yeah.
do.
Yeah, so
She'll be invited to our wedding probably.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
yeah, she's been great. She calls, texts, like she'll let me text her at all hours of the night. Like she works like we do. So
Yeah.
I admire that. I like it. Like she doesn't mind early texts or late calls. If she's busy, she'll get back to me when she does. But yeah, she's been super on top of it, found all these off-market deals, and then got us connected to this guy who now wants to potentially dump it all off. So
Wow.
And is all this stuff in Cleveland, or is
Yeah.
it kind of spread
no,
all in
it's
Cleveland?
all in Cleveland.
Cleveland, and then the other suburb to Cleveland, which is Lakewood.
Lakewood.
Nice.
Okay.
And is your guys' plan to, I mean, it sounds like, I mean, that 11 unit, 400K, 82 gross by the end of the year. Are you guys looking to stay in Cleveland and just kind of build out from there? Or are you guys already looking at other places or just kind of want to build it up from where you guys are right now?
So if everything works out with this guy, if he's serious about, I'd be happy with Cleveland. I don't know how I would afford all those properties yet, but the how I'll figure out later.
Exactly.
Like that's something that, it's a future problem for JT, not a today problem.
Yeah.
So that's where I want to stay is Cleveland, and just build all those out because the returns there, I understand the market. It really, when we went out, so we flew out to see the 11 unit while we were in escrow, meet the tenants, meet the inspector, go through it, just make sure everything looked clean and good. And then we had filled up a full tank of gas. So I said, buckle up. We're driving the whole city. We spent 6-7 hours just so I could learn. Like my first job was a pizza delivery guy. And that's how I know Fresno so well, is because I was looking at a map back in the day, driving streets.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
So
That's awesome.
Well, so can you fill us in? We're going to have a whole different episode about property management, but just out of curiosity, you guys went to Cleveland. It didn't sound like you had any prior familiarity with it. How did you guys meet your property manager?
So fortunately, we have obviously a mutual friend, Jason, who Jason and Benny had helped us out. And I think the same property manager you guys are using, they're out there as well.
Yeah.
So
you're also with Vanessa.
yeah, she's been taking
No
care of it.
way.
Yeah.
There we
I didn't
go.
know
Yeah. So she's been taking care of it.
That's
there
awesome.
you go.
How was your guys' experience? I mean, you guys have said the 3 tenants out there, the hoarder guy, the guy who's smoking and stuff. I mean, it sounds like outside of that so far, it sounds like it's been like a pretty good gig out there for you guys. Has there been anything troublesome outside of those kind of little problematic tenants that's popped up, or anything you guys didn't expect when you guys have been going through this whole thing?
Not really. The only big thing that happened was the day that escrow closed, there was a crazy windstorm and then it knocked out like all the power. And so we found out like the building didn't have power for several hours. And I said, well, that's why we have property management. They're not calling us. I have power and I'm here. So
Yeah.
but
No, there were no
really.
surprises. Fortunately, like we had a great inspector, went through the whole building, got to meet the seller too. It was just a weird circumstance. Like everybody wanted to meet us when we were supposed to be there. Like we were scheduled to be there at 9 a.m. There was like a welcoming parade of tenants, and there's 15 people at the front doors waiting for these Californians to come walking up.
Yeah.
And so we got to meet the seller, walk through with the realtor. We met the tenants of each building. They're all waiting for us.
That's awesome.
Our property manager was there. It was, first time meeting everybody. So it's
Yeah.
just like a big party. The seller's telling us like everything that he probably shouldn't be telling us, disclosing, but
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Disclosing.
but discloses like, I don't care about that, man. Like,
Yeah.
no
It's
worries.
cool too because you're a realtor. I think a lot of the out-of-state stuff that's helped us is being realtors. Like we knew to get a home inspection too and stuff like that.
Right.
I think people are more comfortable talking to us because we're usually less scared
Yeah.
about things. Like if you say the word mold, like I'm not going to panic.
Right.
Did you guys walk through each of the 11 units?
Yeah.
Yes.
So we
That's
actually,
awesome.
they had planned for us to be there,
Wow.
got us in all 11 units. The inspector was great, went through head to toe of everything. Any kind of little thing that he saw come up, the seller was following the inspector around. He was like, oh, I'll take care of that. Like, it's not a problem. We'll get it wrapped up. So we didn't even really have to submit a request for repair because the seller,
He was already kind of doing it.
yeah.
Yep.
Wow. Have you guys had a lot of maintenance or repairs?
So just in turning the building, not actual like,
Tenant.
tenant requests. So just like as this first tenant moved out, like we had blinds that were damaged. And he was a good tenant when we met him. She was out there, met him, liked him. It was like a $50 blind charge. And she's like, don't charge him. All right. He had said they were like that when he moved in there, and he was a nice guy. I was like,
Yeah.
I'll give you the benefit of the doubt,
Yeah.
like whatever.
You're not hurting for $50.
Yeah.
Exactly. And like since we got to meet all of them, like we wanted to like build that rapport. And so as we were walking through each of the units, he was doing a really good job. Like, hey, is there anything you don't like? Is there anything that's been bothering you? What would you like changed?
Right.
And there's honest feedback. Like there's people that said, oh, like I don't like the ceiling fan makes a noise or little things like that. And I'm like, oh, we'll take care of it. Like,
Yeah, if possible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if they would like to stay, I'd love them for the stay. We're going to raise rents though, so I want to make sure you're happy and comfortable because we'll take care of you. But
That's our philosophy.
yeah,
When we went through our properties too, we had a conversation with a lot of our tenants that we could. We didn't get through all of our buildings, we bought from a little bit different situation. We bought from 2 different landlords who were both slumlords by all means. So we put in like 30 plus K into our buildings or into our houses, and like we had tenants tell us that they were like the owner kicked the door down and threatened to kill them. Like that was one of the people. One girl, her front window was shattered. She said she had a stalker and all this. Like, so we've had some crazy stuff. Did you give them your phone numbers?
No.
That was smart.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, like because we are realtors though, and
I'm
we
sure
did
it's
need the
easy to
tenant.
to find.
Yes. Yes.
Did they get your numbers?
Yeah, one of them Googled me. He knew I was a fighter when I was out there. He was like, hey, when I was in his room, he was showing me like some UFC stuff, and he was wanting to talk about fighting.
No
and like,
way.
Yeah.
Little fanboy.
Yeah.
Is everybody out there? Were they on month to month, or are they on and what's your guys' strategy when you guys like go like 3x3 when you increase the rents? What's your guys' philosophy with how you want to handle the tenants that way?
So we were told Vanessa's advice was to keep it month to month out there.
Yes.
So we kept it month to month, increased. Everybody is on month to month that's out there. I think there's one tenant that the seller had signed up like a month before he decided to sell, who's on a year lease. So she's the only one. And she needs a bathtub stopper fixed. But she was very sweet.
$3.
$3.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
Sweet.
Yeah, so just month to month.
Gotcha. I was thinking about it too while we were talking. So if Vanessa's your guys' property manager, how often are you guys chatting with Vanessa? Because I know like we have almost daily communication with the team, but I know that Kate and I, being pretty young, pretty new to the business, we're just trying to learn a ton, and we're trying to like be as involved as possible. Have you guys stepped away from it pretty significantly, or are you guys still in kind of a day-to-day communication?
So we're probably once a week right now, just because we're still trying to get a feel for turning the units, and is it better to invest a couple dollars into the property to get a couple out of them? When she gave me a bid to like totally revamp the unit, she's like, it's probably like $7,000 to redo it, and you make $75 more. Like, let's not redo this one. It's clean, it's cute, it doesn't need some marble countertops and some imported tile. Like we're okay.
Yeah, very cool.
Awesome. Well, what do you guys think was the most important part? What was the time frame from starting the research and then locking up that 11 unit? How quick was that for you guys, or how long was it?
So the longest part was the lending side of it.
Mm-hmm.
We had that 8 unit in North Carolina that was from the point where she got comfortable and said, okay, let's commit, let's do this.
Mm-hmm.
We were probably in contract maybe a week later.
Gotcha.
So we had locked that one up right away, and then or abandoned that to go to the next one, all within about a 3-week period. And then it took the lender about 4 months to get it going. We actually got hooked
Holy
up with
crap.
a different lender initially. So we almost lost the deal due to lending initially. And the guy didn't want another person, just didn't want our business. Like our money wasn't green.
We got 3 weeks in, and then he like stopped communicating with us, and then finally emailed us back and said, I'm sorry, I'm on federal jury duty. You need to find somebody else. And like the seller was like, are you guys not interested? Like, what's happening? So we had to go find somebody else to source the loan.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was our biggest headache. It was just amazing to me that, it's a sign of the times, I guess. Everybody's doing so well, they don't need to make a commission.
When it changes, though, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that guy was local. It's like, dude, I'm never calling you again. Like, I would have used you here for clients for me. Like,
Moving forward, just like you were saying, whatever agent picked up your phone and answered your call, you're going to go to them every single time.
right.
Exactly.
And our agent's been great. She's been on top of it. But to that point, it was funny. She was paranoid. She didn't send us the whole contract. Because out here, California contracts are 20 pages, 30 pages, with new Corona waivers and yada, yada. It was 3 pages out there.
Ours is 4.
Yeah.
The Indiana one
gosh.
was 4.
Yeah. We got it, and I'm like, this is wrong.
You
Call
read it,
me back.
and you're like, there's loopholes, I know.
Yeah. Agents texting us, let us know if something doesn't make sense. It's like, I read it in 3 minutes. It's perfect. Like, it's clear cut. There's no fluff. I love it.
Is it, getting a little off topic, is it a attorney state? Like, do attorneys close those deals and everything in Ohio? Like, for us, it's like an escrow. Is it?
Escrow?
It's
Ours
an
is
escrow state,
yeah.
So ours is all through escrow.
Got
It's
it.
escrow too.
Escrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have, so letter of intents are common out there though. Like that's what we did for the 14 unit. We provided a letter of intent that we did through an attorney.
Right.
But other than that, like everything else is traditional.
And letter of intent is pretty common for commercial, right? Like that's not a residential thing.
Right.
So we didn't deal with that.
Right.
Well, very cool.
And going back when I was talking about the time frame stuff, what do you guys think was the biggest piece for you guys going from not having any out-of-state units to locking up 11 units? Like, what do you guys think was the most important part or action or thought process that you guys did as a team individually in order to go and lock up 11 freaking units out of state? Because that's badass.
Yeah.
For me, it was the mindset. Like, I just had to get out of, I love flipping property and renovation, so I had to get out of that mindset and like let him take the reins and show me what he wanted to do with the multifamily stuff.
Right. For me going into it, it was getting her on board. If we're both aligned, I feel like we can take on the world. If one of us isn't 100% committed, then it's not the activity for us. We have very similar tastes, styles, and likes. We've been together for 16 years, so we work together daily. I see her constantly. It's like I need to have that cohesive, like 100%, or it's just not the thing for us. Let's find something else to do.
Gotcha. Yeah. We're very similar. We decided like it wasn't until both of us were 100% comfortable that we pulled the trigger.
Right.
So makes sense. We haven't been married 16 years. We've only been married 7 months.
Keep on the track that you're on. Future will be bright.
Last question. What's next for you? You said you got 14 units. What are your short-term, long-term goals for like the next 1, 5, 20 years?
That's a good question. I'd say just more the game of Monopoly. Start taking them down.
Yeah, we both love playing Monopoly. So now it's cool to be able to actually do it in real life. That's the goal with Cleveland, is just to keep picking and choosing and making sure that we pick up the right properties for the short term, the next 2 to 5 years. Long term, I want to be the guy holding the note. I don't want these properties anymore. Like,
really,
I thought it was big mindset shift when we went to meet some bigger producers out in Arizona. And, the guy walked in, he opened up the seminar and he was talking to us and goes, I used to look at this beautiful building, think, how do I own that? And now I walk in and just think, how do I be the guy that owns the note on this? And that was huge for me. It was like, that absolutely makes sense. Why do I want to deal with filling it? Why do I want to deal with the maintenance, the people? Just collect your check on the 5th. So that's our long term.
Very cool.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for coming on. I think you two are, when Scott and I were talking, you guys are the perfect example of the people we wanted to bring on, going from not knowing really anything about owning property out of state. You guys didn't even go and visit there until you were already in escrow, already intent on purchasing the property, and then now going from owning 0 units to now 11 units out of state, in escrow for 14 more, and just picking up the phones, calling everybody. When shit doesn't work out, you keep calling the phones until you get somebody. So thank you guys so much for coming on and sharing your guys' story. We're super pumped to see what happens next for you guys, and so please keep us updated.
Absolutely. Thank you again, guys.
Thank
Awesome.
you.